Welcome to number 2 session, and actually the Guardian Unified Healing basic sessions on energy work. Now, where I am right now is I'm actually in beautiful Gage Park in Hamilton, Ontario. This is probably actually one of the largest parks actually like in the area. They actually do concerts, and they do quite a bit actually here. Events here can be quite large, and if you ever look at the footprint actually from Google Maps, this is probably actually one of the largest parks in the area. It's what it challenge actually is like Central Park in the US, but you might be able to take half of it, and that's basically Gage Park. As I mentioned before, actually it's a grounding actually is the actual baseline of the entire skill set. This actually is skill set number 2, which is called shielding. Now, if you haven't seen actually into the first video, my background in energy work is that I'm actually a Reiki master, along actually with having used energy for well over 30 years. I know the ins and outs, and I've taught 30 to 50 students actually is like through along the way, and a lot of them have become masters. Actually, it's like a very short order. I keep it simple, I keep it easy to understand, and I'm also in the process actually of writing a book. So, and hopefully that'll come out within the next year to 2 years. So that way, that will give people actually a better explanation as to these skills. Anyway, so this is skill set number 2, which actually is grounding. Now, if you have seen actually into the first video, actually was standing actually for that one. Shielding can be done from any position, whether it's actually like standing, sitting, actually it's laying down, doesn't matter. This is something where you basically can do it from basically from any position. Your best bet always is to ground first. Now, actually, just as a refresher for grounding, you're just like a tree. With me actually now sitting, my feet are now firmly actually on the ground, and basically it's like I'm sitting comfortably. Then from there I'm actually breathing in, and then from there I'm breathing out. But I'm also thinking to myself that I'm also actually pulling actually a YMCA, and I'm basically kind of going like this, right? So, but I'm not having to do that because it's, once again, it actually boils down to practice. Shielding is, now if you've ever watched actually, it's like Star Trek, Star Wars, basically, it's like any one of the sci-fi ones, you basically have almost like a bubble, possibly like a stasis field, like a field actually of some sort that can be created actually from like magnetics, or basically it's like what have you. This actually is using the body's own EM field, which, just to be able to get to like the biology behind it, is that basically it's like the heart actually produces the energy, the nervous system basically acts as like a carrier, the brain actually controls it. Quite simple. Now, if you're thinking it's actually okay, fine, it's actually grounding and other benefits, how about shielding? Shielding can actually help to be able to deflect any kind of negative energy that you may end up actually running into. It has helped me actually be able to push even actually into people away. People can, in a lot of cases, actually sense that you're guarded, which means that you're shielded in a lot of cases, and that boils down to down to body language along actually with everything else. If you include it's body language, then from there until you end up having yourself actually a double shield, actually one that's both energy based along actually with one that's also actually very it's physically based. There is a lot of information actually out there with regards to body language that can help to be able to reflect that. So, but the basic skill for shielding, let me actually extend this a bit, is that you basically stretch your arm out basically up to arm's length. Okay, once again, arm's length, or in my case, it's a very long arm's length. From there, I'm going to take a bubble, and I'm actually going to take it from here, expand it out actually to my fingertips. What I'm also going to do is I'm also going to think that bubble is the exact same distance all around me as the arm. Now, if you do need to turn around and do the hokey pokey, That's entirely up to you. And from there, it's you basically like turn yourself around, and then you basically feel as if you've actually got that. One of the other ways to be able to do it is that you just actually stretch your arm actually all the way up, straight up actually, it's like in this case. So that way that you've actually got a full extent of actually how big actually it's like the shield is. Now, if you don't want to actually go actually like that far, then think of yourself as just basically having it's like that bubble that's about that far away from your skin. Now, one of the other things to do actually, it's like with energy, which I'm actually going to introduce right now, is that energy is infused by like emotion, and that can really help you in terms of what you actually attract, what you actually basically like deflect. The law of attraction in terms of like energy work. Now, actually, this is getting a bit kind of actually off of this, but mind you, like this is actually still actually it's very applicable. Is that like the energy that you actually put out is basically it's like the energy actually that you actually get back. Working with shielding is that you're basically thinking as if like the shield is actually is liquid. So think of actually as if that means you've actually got like a few pots actually it's like in front of you. Each one of them has like their own emotion in it. Okay. You always want to try to, it's like with shielding, you want to try to go with protective, healing, and positive emotions, because that's what will infuse your shield. So basically actually it's like grab the dropper, drop it actually into there, and then from there actually just drop it actually onto the shield, and that will spread itself. Just like it's just like a ripple actually in water. Shielding is flexible. It's not designed to be rigid, because you're moving, right? So I mean, it's like if it actually was a rigid shield, you wouldn't be able to move, and it's like you'd actually be stuck like this actually. It's like all day, which honestly you can actually do anything, including actually go pee, which you'd be like, I need to go pee, but my shield's kind of stuck. This is why we actually make it fluid. Now think about that emotion basically going all over yourself. But then from there, actually think of yourself going, okay, fine, I'm now shielded. I am now it's like protected versus like negative energy versus actually it's negative thoughts. More times than not, it will have an effect. Shielding with that kind of bubble and the rest, and actually it's like it's that mentally you're basically telling yourself that you're actually protected, and that you're actually stronger actually than you were, even if you don't feel it. Even if you're basically having one of the worst ass days around, the minute that you actually, it's like bring up that shield, you've actually got that insulation. Once again, okay, break the bubble. If you're comfortable, go to your arm's length. Okay, in my case, it's almost actually it's like a good 3 feet. I'm 6'6", so I'm quite a bit of a giant. Or, if you want to, do it actually about that far away from your body. Always make sure that it's a flexible shield. Always make sure that you think that you can actually move with it. Once you actually can move with it, then actually it's like infuse it actually with like emotion or intent. And so it's like, as I said before, so you've actually got the pots actually it's like in front of you. So it's like one that actually says love, one that says hope. Actually is one that says protection, one that says actually it's a well-being. Grab like your dropper, drop it in, and basically drop it onto there and let it swirl. And let it swirl actually all the way through your body. And that will end up helping you. This is probably one of the most effective things that it took me years to be able to learn actually how to be able to shield. The inspiration actually came actually from Star Trek. One of the things actually that was pointed out to me by like a student was that it's like shields can actually be strengthened and weakened basically. It's like according to it's like where you need it. I will tackle that in like a future video. Right now you're just learning the basics, which is basically is the bubble from within to basically just like to whatever length that you actually choose. And then from there, take the emotion. Now, let me make actually, it's like a very critical note. Do not put negative energies actually into your shield, because that could easily backfire. It's negative energy. You're not actually inside protecting yourself actually versus actually it's negative energy. What you're doing is that you're actually putting negative energy actually inside your shield, which means actually that you'll end up actually like attracting that, and you'll actually end up being hurt actually by it, which means the shield can actually backfire actually on you. So, recommendation always is to always put it actually inside positive emotion. What I usually do is I put positive healing and actually inside protective energies basically right into mine. And mine can vary in distance anywhere from actually it's like from like the edge of my hands actually well up to actually about 10 feet. Now that is something which you actually gain with time, because the more that you actually push the shield, the more energy you're actually going to expend. That's why we ground first, is because the fact that we're not constantly drawing actually on ourselves, that we've actually got that constant circulation actually of energy. One of the things that we'll tackle in like a future video is health, as well as energy work. At this point, just know that if you ever get super tired, back off. Actually, it's like that's your body basically telling you that basically it's like enough is enough. So, once again, bubble basically is actually it's like see the bubble is all around you. See how far you can actually push it. Usually, like I would say, actually it's like the fingertip length, or possibly actually about that far away. It's like infuse it actually with positive energies, protective energies. Ground yourself first. You'll find that it's easier to be able to shield once you actually are grounded, because you're not draining yourself actually just so much. And then from there, I mean, it's just see actually how your return date goes. Once again, I mean, it's like this boils down to practice. And even though I've been doing this actually for about 30 plus years, I'm still learning and I'm still practicing. I still do it like it's like day in and day out. So even actually it's like the best of us still need to constantly to be able to practice, because there are times that even we actually get lax. So this is video actually is it's a video actually number 2 actually in Guardian Unified Healing's system. No, actually, basically, it's a video. If you have any questions, fire me off a message actually on Guardian Unified Healing on Facebook, or else actually is look for us. Actually, it's like on the actual YouTube page. You can basically leave a message there. I will get back to you as soon as I can. If anybody ever actually wants to learn in person, we can actually talk actually about that in person, depending on where you are actually in like the GTHA. We'll figure it out. If it's anywhere actually outside of GTHA, there may actually be a cost involved. So basically, it's that we can just actually work out from there. Either way, I have no problems with teaching. I've been teaching for 15 years approximately, and it's like, to me, this is my way actually. It's like giving back, as well as my way of actually helping people to be able to understand what like a lot of people think is total mystery. I'm here to be able to take the mystery actually out of the energy. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just ask, and then we can actually go from there. Video number 3 will actually be later on. That will actually be awareness. And this builds actually on top of like the last 2. So thank you for watching. See you actually in the next video.